I decided to do my sixth research project on Brancusi's A Bird in Space. For connection to class, in this class we explored several 20th century art movements, including abstract, surrealism, and futurism. Constantine Brancusi was a 20th century artist during these movements, and while he never considered himself part of any particular movement, his works carried elements of these movements as he inspired and influenced many of them. His piece, A Bird in Space, was particularly influential as it helped change the legal definition of art. So, who was Brancusi? Constantine Brancusi was a French Romanian artist who lived from 1876 to 1957. He worked primarily in sculpture work and used a variety of mediums. Brancusi was known for his abstract and modernist takes on a variety of subjects such as birds, fish, and couples. He focused on portraying the essence of his subjects through simplified forms, particularly the oval and ellipse shapes. He befriended and worked with several avant-garde artists during his time in France as well. Connection to art movements. While Brancusi didn't consider himself connected to any one art movement, as I stated previously, his work does show elements of several different movements. Futurism. Brancusi did not subscribe to the violent mindset of futurism, but his work, especially A Bird in Space, portrayed movement and speed in a way remnant of futurism. Modernism. Brancusi is typically considered a modernist artist by art historians. His work rejects realism and traditionalism, and he was very innovative and experimental with his pieces. Abstractionism. His pieces show a departure from representation that was typical for the abstract art movement. Brancusi didn't consider his pieces all that abstract, but there was still a focus in the expression and intention of the piece rather than the accuracy. So let's take a look at some of Brancusi's other works before we move into A Bird in Space. This first one that we have here is called The Sorceress. Then we have Adam and Eve next to it, and Flying Turtle at the top right. As you can see, there are elements of what he's trying to go for, but they are largely abstracted, and they're not accurate representations of the subject that he claims that they are. So let's take a look at A Bird in Space. A Bird in Space was a design that was originally created in marble and later cast in bronze, and it was first created in 1923. As you can see on the right from this picture from the Philadelphia Museum of Art. The bronze version of this sleek sculpture was highly polished and reflective. It is a long, slim cylinder that tapers off at the top and bottom. Though the title gives the impression that the sculpture is of a bird, there are no clear features that are accurately representational of a bird, though Brancusi would probably argue otherwise. So let's get into the controversy now that you've seen it. In 1928, a man named Edward Steichen tried to bring a version of A Bird in Space into the United States. A customs agent decided that the piece did not qualify as art and therefore wouldn't be granted free admittance. Typically, with exporting, when you admit art, you don't have to pay any kind of export fees. However, because the customs agent had decided it was instead just a manufactured piece rather than art, Brancusi ended up having to pay those fees. So, Brancusi sued the United States Customs Court in order to gain back the export fees that he had to pay. This court case, C. Brancusi versus United States, sparked the debate between what is art and what is not. Previously, sculpture work was defined as certain materials carved to depict natural objects in their true proportions. Brancusi argued that he was a professional sculptor, the piece was conceived and created by himself, and it was an original. His lawyers questioned why a piece needed to be representational in the first place. The court eventually decided that the old definition needed to be discarded to accommodate a new art form, and a bird in space was in fact art. Conclusion. The 20th century gave a space for artists to branch out from the expected norm and focus more on the aesthetics and intention of art rather than the representational accuracy. Brancusi's sculptures changed the world of art and were at the forefront of modernism. His sculpture, A Bird in Space, was considered so abnormal at the time that it required a court case to determine if it could even be considered art, or if it was just a manufactured piece of bronze. The decision of that court case opened up possibilities for modern artists who wanted to create art for the sake of expression rather than representation. And here is my works cited page. Thank you for listening to my presentation.